Good evening, Tushar. You can start till the time, you can introduce yourselves and move ahead. The students will be joining in.
Sure. One second. Hi everyone. I'm Tushar Oza. Let me know if you can hear me properly.
Yes.
Sure. So, okay. Yeah. So the agenda of this session today, Kavya, there's some echo from your end. Yeah. Sure.
There's some.
No, like, if you're not muted, then it is. Uh,
I'm really sorry. थोड़ा सा मुझे समझ नहीं आया. Can you please pardon?
yeah, there's some echo from your end when you're
Okay,
muted.
I'll just mute
Now it's
myself.
okay. Now it's okay. Okay. Sure. So, Hi everyone. As you all know, the agenda of this call is to talk about Flutter with Firebase and how you can leverage this as a technology. So I'll be walking you through what it is, why it is useful, why this combo is very useful, and every single thing like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and probably we're gonna try and like experiment a few things, or maybe just go to the dashboard and see how does how does the Firebase dashboard looks like when you have app which is on store right now, and a lot of things around that. I myself have been building apps for quite some time. I'm right now in fourth year. So uh, like after building a lot of apps, I've published onto Google Play Store, App Store. I've done internship at Grow, and right now um, I'm building a few of mine projects which I have planned. So yeah, that's about me. So let me know when we can start.
You can move it.
Sure. Okay. So let me share the screen.
You are on mute.
Uh, yeah. So hi everyone once again. I hope you all can see the screen as well. So the agenda is to understand Flutter, Love, Firebase. So how does the synergy establishes very well? What is Flutter? What is Firebase? And how you can leverage these to build world-class mobile applications? And what's the really need of having a Firebase service? So let's get started one by one. So first of all, I would like to know if you know about Flutter. So what is Flutter? So if you are attending a talk about Flutter extended, so I hope you know Flutter very well. So it's like your framework, what you need to build, whether Android, iOS, desktop, web app, anything you would like to know, like to build, you can build it using this stack. And this is very powerful. It was created by Google, and this stack leverages Dart as a programming language from which you can have a single code base, and then you can have natively compiled mobile applications for different sources. So previous, like a few talks ago, I think like day before yesterday, you got to know about Flutter from Aditya, and a lot of things have been happening in the Flutter space. And I hope you have some basic understanding of what Flutter is and how it works, so that we can move ahead with Firebase and get a charm about like what's the Firebase and why it is useful. So imagine like you want to build a world class mobile application, and by saying world class again, I mean something which is live on App Store, something which people are using, it solves their problems, and it is useful for them to maybe day to day usage, or it has a very niche thing like which they can leverage on, and which they can use. So consider this a mobile application screenshot which I've attached. It's one of my mobile application called Educate. So this have a lot of things and like a lot of features which helps you study from YouTube playlists. So just imagine how if you would like to build this similar app for yourself, how would you build it? So first of all, what would you use for UI? And the obvious answer is Flutter, because that's what the talk is all about. So we'll be using Flutter for this, let's say. And then what features do you need? Flutter is just to create the UI and functionalities and have like simple sort of logics. But you of course need to have a lot of features and make this app working in life. So these features include storing user codes details that can be done on MongoDB, SQL database, and a lot of other types of databases which are available right now. So other than just building the UI, which you learned about from Flutter, now you have to learn MongoDB. You have to learn Node.js to run a server and actually set up a database like a MongoDB and host it on a network, and so that actually your users can use it. So before you go live, you have to ensure that it's not just your local host which is running that MongoDB server. It's actually like MongoDB Atlas or something which is a hosted solution. You have a Node.js server with you need to have notifications on new videos, so you have to establish a Node server, PubSub server for that. Now that's another server which you have to establish. You have to get onto OAuth APIs for authenticating the users from Google sign in, phone sign in, or whatever you like. So you have to establish and create a server, or maybe like use some other APIs to actually do this. Then there's another important thing about product analysis and crash reports, which you have to be very ensured that what your users are using it, because the way you imagine, your users will never use the same way. Like there's a lot of memes which you have seen on this in a similar phase where what are UX developer things, people don't use it that way. So only the data is the thing which you can trust. So here to generate that data, it's very important again. So for that you need to have product analysis and crash reports analysis. So for that you can use Mixpanel or something like that. So you have to use a lot of these types of solutions to actually build an app full-fledged. And before going to the store, these all things should be on a hosted servers, and you have to pay those hosted solutions some fees to actually, so that they'll run your code. Now this sounds a lot of friction, right? Before just launching a mobile application, first you were learning, you were already struggling with learning Flutter. Now you have to ensure that everything else is also done. And I have not even come to security part. Then now you have to secure these things to assure that no one else is accessing your users data, the privacy is maintained, it is not hackable. Your app will you have to ensure the scalability. Let's say on one lucky day you got 100,000 users on your application. All of a sudden it went viral. Everything will crash if you have not enough knowledge, or if you have not built it to that level already from your from the day one. So like there's a lot of problems. I've just mentioned four, but you can think of five, seven, or whatever, like a number. And there's tons of problems that you need to do and solve just other than Flutter. So to solve all these problems together and once and for all, there comes Firebase. So Firebase is a backend as a service solution which is owned by Google. So it is same as Flutter, like which is developed by Google. And in a similar way, Firebase is also a solution which Google provides, and it is not just for Flutter apps. It for web applications using any stack, like React, Mongo, React, Vue.js, AngularJS. For mobile applications using like Flutter, React Native, from Android Kotlin, or like Swift or Objective C. So it's a complete solution. And since Google built Flutter and also the Firebase, so their synergy establishes very well, and that's why we say like Flutter loves Firebase, and it can be a killer solution to build an amazing, awesome app. So you can think of it as if you have a Lamborghini or whatever car is in the image. So Firebase is the engine which drives it. Firebase is the engine that makes sure it's not just a model car. It actually works, and it works very well. It scales very well. So it ensures that if you got 100,000 users in a day, you should be happy, not worried that your app can hold these people or not. So that's the purpose of Firebase, and there are lots of services that Firebase provides. These services include like building better applications using authentication service, cloud functions, Cloudflare storage solutions, for improving app quality and checking how does it all works. Is your app doing well or not? Performance monitoring, crash analytics. Is your app crashing to your users? Because every time you build an app, it works on your phone. That's the biggest problem for developers today, that whatever you build, it works on your device but not your user's device, and you have to track that. So after delivery service, so once you have shipped the product, now you have to ensure that it's working well for them, for users, because you might have some paid users as well. And if your paid users are not happy, your Google ranking will decrease, they'll rate you down, and like everything like starts triggering. It's a domino effect. In a similar way, you also want to make sure that you have built a great app. Its app quality is very well, it's working well on user device. Now you have to ensure that it grows. For that, you have to understand the current users too. You have to understand how can I update this app very fast. So there's something called remote config for it, where you can update your app on air. So right now what happens is, if you publish a mobile application today on a Google Play Store, whenever you want to push an update, you have to write down a lot of code changes you have to make. So you are a developer, it's very well, but if a founder wants to build it in a similar way, he is not from a tech background, so he first have to hire a developer to do some minimum text changes or some compliance changes. then you have to push the application to the store, and there's like 2 3 days of review period, and after that your app goes live. Not everyone will install your mobile application, so there's like 10 20 50% of users who will install your app after a few months. So there's a lot of things. So pushing an update is very hectic when you go live and when you scale. So for that, there's something called remote config, where you can change some details of your apps and some text of your app over the cloud. So there are tons of things which combinedly solves a lot of problems for you as a developer. And let me first, that's a lot of theory. Let's walk us through. Let's walk through basic Firebase dashboard, how it has looks, what services it provide, and how does it like everything works. So I'm gonna open my Firebase console. So you have to go to firebase.google.com, and you will see this page where they mention and like shill about their features and products. You just go to the console. Once you have registered, it is directly linked to a Google account. So I'm gonna open this app. So here you can see, like, it will give me first load analytics for me, and on the left side I'll see all the features does Firebase provide. So it's a like end-to-end solution. So you can see my daily active users of this application, which the screenshot I attached, it's three, and from which app it was. So from one single Firebase project, there are multiple apps which are connected. It involves an iOS application, Mac OS application, number of MBs which have been downloaded from the websites, reads and write updates, notifications that have been sent to people, and how much they have opened. So all these things are right there on the dashboard. Now, and each of these features matters a lot. So let's say if you go to the authentication dashboard, you will see all the people who have been onboarded onto your application, and then what are the sign-in methods that you have used. There are tons of methods which you can. Right now I'm just using Google, but you can choose to use any other solution. And one of the very interesting features is this analytics dashboard, where you will be able to see like how does the user behave, what sort of events they emit, and a lot of things. So if you have seen properly, so what happened with Instagram? So Instagram is a mobile application, and if you have seen when they launched Reels, they restructured their mobile applications multiple times. And on what basis they decide? Like, is it like a design decision every time they change the mobile application? Of course it is, but it's based on the data which you have get unintentionally or intentionally. So it's something like, if you see, this is the user graph which I have received. So based on this, like, you will see these events. So I have customized these events to see what my users are doing, which screen they are on right now. Like, it's not like I got to track each user, but I can see overall counts of things happening for a user cycle. So for example, I see people are searching. There have been 39 searches in the last 7 days. Okay, it's an increase of 44%. That means my last search feature was good enough. People are onto the course screen more, so it means like people are checking out the courses. But if you see, added to courses is less. So like one third, it is the ratio of number of courses added versus people have seen the courses. So on an average, a person sees three courses before adding one onto their mobile application. So these sort of metrics is what I receive, and on the basis of that, user decide that how to restructure the mobile application, how to redefine the UX, and from which locations people are using your mobile application. Is it so that you can, when you want to run ads, you can see, okay, Denmark is probably rising, so I should run ads onto this location. And these are very crucial data as your app scales. And this is something which you are receiving for free. So a lot of these features which you see of Firebase dashboard is for free, and it is available to you to leverage on. You can see the devices as well. Now let us see how you can actually, like, create a Flutter application and actually integrate this. And there are tons of services. This is just analytics what I've explained to you. There's notification service. You want to push a cloud notification to all of your users. So I'm trying to, like, I'll try to demo it in front of you today. How does that work? But it's something like, I've sent a notification, 28 cents were there, and one of them opened it. So there are a lot of things which you can do and choose to. The remote configurations, as I mentioned. Okay, what things I want to change, what things I want to keep. So let's say, there's an I'm allowing people to sign ups or not. So let's say I had the skill switch, because if, let's say, since it's a free app and it's using YouTube APIs, when a lot of users come to the app, it might heat up, and it is not able to serve new users. So I can just turn off this switch, and no more new users will be able to sign in from the application. I don't have to push another update for this. Do I want to show a donation button on the application? So right now it's false, but when I need, I can just turn it on and change the donation link. Here right now it's empty. So like all of these things could be changed over the cloud without need to update the mobile application, update the code itself. So there are tons of features including this. These are one of like few of my favorite features which I've shown you, but there are a lot of other solutions as well. And the storage is basically a database, like a NoSQL database, where you can see about issues that people have filed and what they believe and their learner IDs. And I'm not going to open this table, but of course, like it's the list of users, and like how they have been using the mobile application. And there are things like a storage bucket, like how you have Google Drive. So if you want to store users profile pictures or some images or metadata, like media files, then you can do that. So let us quickly create a new application. So I'm going to share the screen again. But if you have any questions, you can ask. I'll set up the terminal so that you can create new app. If you have any questions so far, just let me know. I'm going to create a new Flutter app. All good. Yeah, that's it. So this is my terminal, and I want to create a new app. So I'll go to the desktop, and I'll say something like Flutter create and a project name MSIT. Let's say. So it's gonna create a new project with the name MSIT, and yeah, it's done. Okay, it's very fast. I change the directory to MSIT, and then I'm gonna open the VS Code in this directory. So it's like a classic Flutter app where I have tons of folders: Linux, iOS, Windows, Android. I'll probably not need a lot of these folders, so I'll delete for Linux. This. Okay, so and web as well. So what I have to do, I have to use this app to actually like this is normal, like you have built Flutter apps a lot of times. So it's basically a app with like a counter app. So I have to integrate Firebase with it. Okay, so how do I do that? I'll go to the again the console, and I'll create a new Firebase project from there. Okay, so I'll create a new project if I can. Okay, MSIT, continue, enable Google Analytics. Okay, sure, choose the account. So it's creating a new project for me, and next I have to just integrate this, and this integration is also very smooth with the recent updates to the Firebase dashboard and like on Flutter as well. So I'll quickly show you how does that work. Meanwhile, maybe I can try to run my emulator if. So this is done. I have created a new Firebase project. Cool. So now I have to like first start by adding a new mobile application to this. So I'll choose the Flutter logo. This is the Flutter logo. I know about Flutter SDK and Flutter CLI is already installed. So if you want to install Firebase CLI, you can just go to this and like do one command, and it will basically install the Firebase CLI for you. So yeah, it's very easy. You can use Vue as well if you want, or you can use this, and it will install the CLI. Next, what you have to do, you click next, and you have to copy paste this command. So the goal of this command is to basically enable Flutter Fire CLI across your mobile application. So you do like this, and it will resolve the dependency and create this thing for you. Okay. Now what you have to do is you have to go to this and copy this command. It's basically download. Earlier what you have to do, you have to like manually download a lot of files and set up onto like depending on your project. But now it's very smooth, you can just use this. So I'll paste this command. Okay, this is not known, so I have to do maybe sudo for this. You have to add this butterfly CLI. Uh, on Mac, it's not working to like I have to set the environment variable for this. But the other way is like you go and click on Android and you manually do this thing. So what you have to do, you have to go to the Android directory and go to the Gradle file, build.gradle file inside the app. You will see basically there's the package name for your project, which you have to use and put it inside the mobile application. So in my case, so depending on the what's your app. So in my case, let's say it's MSIT, so I can do something like com.example.msit if it is com.example. And you can check this as well. If I open an Android manifest file, so you can see the package name is com.example.msit. I set this up and I say MSIT app, strap. It will automatically do a few things for you, and then it will give you the files which you have to download. So I click here, let's download it, right? So I'll go up here again and I have to paste this file inside the Android and slash app directory. Okay. So this is the configuration file which you need. So I can just paste it inside the app directory and I'll rename this file as Google Services.json. It will have all the configurations for this project, and now like most of the task is already done. Now you just have to ensure that Google services and all these dependencies are right there. So you have to open project level Gradle file. So this is how like on Android you do, but on like if you are using the Firebase CLI, it should work for you. In my case, maybe there's additional Mac setup required because the environment variable is not set. Okay, so on build.gradle file, what you have to do, you have to paste this class path into the dependencies. So this is the app level file. This is the project level, and I'll paste this dependency here. I have to ensure Google Maven is already there. Google Maven is already here. Okay. Now I have to go to app level Gradle file, which is inside the app folder, and I have to again like add this. So okay, I have to copy paste this thing and go back to here and dependencies. Kotlin. Make sure in the plugins you have also added this thing. So plugins. Project app module EWS. Okay, that's the same thing like Google Services.json, which you have to add onto this file as well. Okay, now save it. Yeah. Okay. What next? Which you just have to add Google services. Three things: one, Google services here, and implementation for analytics and Firebase Bomb. This is the basic, like the most necessary. Analytics we have added by default already for it. Like you have to add all the services that you use. You have to add additional things, not to this file. You can just like after this, you can just use the Flutter add, and it will do the rest of things for you. But yeah, and add this thing here. That's it. Three things. Now your setup is done. You can just go ahead and you are all set to continue, and you see that MSIT app has been added, and now you can install the Firebase dependencies to this from pub spec file. So you go to pub.dev and you have to install Firebase core. So what's the latest version? You have to just install that. So you can say Flutter add Firebase core, and similarly, like depending on what you are using, let's say if you are using analytics, then you have to also add analytics dependency for your project, right? So this dependency is added, and then you will add analytics. Analytics, and we can also add notifications. So Firebase notification, Firebase cloud messaging. It's basically Firebase messaging. It includes both cloud and the normal uh, in-app messaging. So you paste these things. So all these dependencies will be added. Now you just have to run it, and it will work for you. And your project is already set up. So that's how the setup works on a native Android or like on Flutter. Now there is a new CLI option which you can explore. As I said, like Flutter Fire CLI, and it will work for you. Okay, and it's done. After this, you can go back to the main.dart file and basically install and then start running your app. App. And what you have to do next is you have to use these dependencies which you have added about Firebase messaging, Firebase services onto your Flutter code base. To do that, you have to ensure that like first of all, the initialization of your application is very important. So you have to initialize your app. So for that, you can go to like uh, docs for Flutter Fire. Okay, Flutter Fire docs. So we go up here. Okay, this is okay. We have added all these plugins already, and we run Flutter run. It should work. Now to initialize it, so these are all the different packages and the package name which you can see from this. I'll paste this link in the meeting as well. Okay. Yeah. So to set up and actually like build something, you first initialize your project like this, as it mentioned. So it basically creates a Firebase options when you uh, go ahead with the configurations and writing everything. But right now it's already set up because we have added the JSON files by ourselves, so it's not needed. Now you can make it a sync and import from the Firebase core. This is not needed for now because we have set up it the other way. And yeah, one thing which you have to do is widgets binding dot instance dot. It's something like you have to ensure that okay, ensure initialized it's binding ensure. You have to add this line. So what it will do, it will ensure that before this is completed, it will not start the run up method and everything. Once it is set up, only then it will start. So it's basically a stop statement which you have to add and tell that this main method is an asynchronous method. It's not something, so that the Flutter widget binding will not start before initialization. Once this is done, we can actually run the project and check it out. That's it. That's the Firebase setup that you have to do. Now you have added, like say, remote config. You have added all these things. So you just go to pubspec like on this file and actually like start adding it, and like just you have to go and care about Flutter now. You don't have to actually go to the roots of the other things. So I have to probably increase the version number for this. So this is like a normal file of Flutter issues. So we have to increase the version number to 33 would work, I think. plugins require a higher Android SDK. Compile. Yeah, anyway, I think it's starting. Sure. So now it will basically up and start running the mobile application for you, and the notifications will work automatically out of the box for you. So if you go to the dashboard now, which we created, and if you go to engage, so notification is in the engage section, and here you can actually choose to like send a notification. You can just start creating your first campaign and start sending notifications and messages. So there are two types of messages. One is a notification, the pop notification, which you see of all the apps like Instagram and others. And in-app messaging is like a dialog box which appears on your mobile application when you open it. So this is when you want to awake user when they are outside of the app. And the other is when you know that the user is inside the app, you want to show some pop-ups to them. So we just go with the first way where the user is not there. So now you can use this dashboard to create a new notification campaign. You can also use the SDK which they provide, JavaScript, to actually create a notification service and add logics to when to send notification. But for now, we can use this dashboard. So let's say test notification. You can see the preview here, notification, and you can add a message on notification example, and yeah, and you can also paste a URL of an image right here and something like that. So let's say let me try putting a URL of my image. Okay. So you can see like it added my image onto this, and you can add a campaign name or notification name for you. Let's say test message. It's just for us to identify on the dashboard, not nothing has to do with your users. Now you see the target options. Here you choose which users you want to send. So you can say like app, this app users, and then you add an additional statement that their version numbers should be equal and like should be greater than the version number one and something like this. So, and you want some other condition that their location or the country of region is in India or Afghanistan or whatever. So like you can choose to send notifications to targeted users, and it will do it for you automatically. And you can schedule the notification. Do you want to send recurring notification? You want to send it now, or you want to send later today or a few days after? You can just choose them, and you can add conversions, and you can add additional fields. So this is like a payload data which you can add, and this payload data will help you to know to your app, help you in your app to know, okay, I've received this notification, I have to do this thing. So you can say something like action, what you have to do, it's a URL. Okay. Open, so that means like I want to open the URL, and value, it could be something like a website. Okay, let's say youtube.com. So and now you can use, like, you can read this data when someone clicks on the notification on their application and it opens the app. At that time you will reading this data, and you can operate upon to this data. You can say, okay, I received this data, that means I have to open this YouTube. So you can add the logic for that, and you can choose to when it expires and when it sends, and you can just review and publish. It will send to all the users out there. And if you want to send it to specific users, you can go to your mobile application, and you can now leverage upon what you have added, the SDKs you have added. So let's say I say void get message ID. Okay, it's basically the Firebase ID which I want to get. I can use this like Firebase messaging dot instance dot get token. Okay. So this get token will help me get the device token, FCM token for the users. And using this token, I can send to individual users, not just from a selection filtering category. I can just send to a particular targeted notifications, and I can store it onto my Firebase server as well. So that's how like the notification work. And to read about some data, you can do something like read new notifications, or maybe something like app open by notification. So if the app opens when some users click, because user clicked on a notification, you can know this by using again the same private messaging SDK to like on um, like there are a lot of methods. So like get initial message will help you get the message of the notification, or there is directly on message app opened. So with this, you say you can now add what to do about it. So like it's basically a feature. So you can say dot then, or is it true? Is it the method? And then you can use and read this data from the user. So it basically gives you a feature here about something like a remote message is going to happen as a stream, and then you can do upon what you want to do from this user's data, where you can pipe it or like listen. So let's say I listen here, I got the event. If it is true, then I can use this event data to actually get the data of the message. Okay, so this data variable is the same which we pass the payload, and here we can use this payload now. So if you can say payload.data um, key or action is URL, then what you have to do, you can, let's say if we have added the URL launcher package, you can say launch, and then we can pass event data and the value. So it will automatically, now you have to add this to package, but add, it's added and I can import it now. Okay. So it will basically open the whatever URL it is on the mobile application. So this is just another example of how you can use the notification service of Firebase. When you want to use the storage service, then you similarly like go ahead here onto the docs, and like again you have to like manually read through all the services that Firebase provides, like the authentication and storage solution. So this is the cloud Firestore service which they provide, and you have to just simply add it to your application like this, like Flutter pub add cloud Firestore, and then it's right there for you. And whenever you want to get and use this Firebase Firestore, you can just use it. So let me show you quickly how does that like coding. So once initial setup is done, everything else is like one by one you can do and add whatever services you need to have. So it's very simple in that case. And if you want to see the detailed steps of how manually do it using each service and the purpose of each service, I have curated this playlist on my YouTube channel for the same, where you can actually like check for all the services. For example, authentication, phone authentication, email, using the Fire Cloud Store to store the database, analytics, how does it work, how you can use it, storage solution for images and uploading files, and seeing analytics real time, seeing crash analytics. So all these things are like divided in separate videos on my channel, so you can go ahead check those as well. So and the code, it's merely same. So once you have done most of the things, so like it's here now. I can Firebase Firestore. I can say it's like Fire Firestore, and I can initialize it. I should be able to get the instance. You can do it late, and you can do it inside the init state. Here you can initialize the Firestore object. Okay. Yeah, like this. Firebase Firestore dot instance, and now you have the Firestore instance. So whenever you want to, get some data, use some data, or store some data, you can just say like store user token. Okay. I what I want to do is I want to store list of all the user tokens which I get from here. So I can say I can just make it return statement from here, return await, and make it like string, because I know it's going to return me a string token, I guess. Yeah, feature string question mark. That means like it can be nullable. Uh, what's the async must have a type of feature. Oh yeah, feature. Okay. Okay. Now what I can do is I can here var user token. Okay. I can say await. Get send, get what's the method name? Get message T. Okay. So here I'll get the token. Now I can just use the Firestore to actually like say collection, and there's a collection name called tokens. I can add a document here and I can pass the data like a map. Okay, so it can be like a token name, and then the value could be user token. And I can pass like something like date and date dot date time dot now. I can pass the timestamp as well, and that's it. It's done. It will basically store the user token here, and I can call it inside the init state or when someone pushes a button. So like this, here at this place, I can call this method instead of implementing the counter. I can remove this counter thing now, and here as well I can remove this. So yeah, that's how basically everything works. And like you can connect multiple services together. So I'm getting the token of the user identity token from the notification service, and I'm storing it onto the Firestore service. So like you can connect these blocks according to your use case and actually leverage the Firebase as a backend solution. So I did not created a notification server. I did not created a storage solution. I did not set up a Firebase like a storage server by myself. For doing this, I can just simply go to, if I want to create a storage server, I can just go to Firestore and it will automatically create it for me. I don't have to set up like a node server by myself, right? That's how it works. And just to tell you that how complicated it is if you do it by yourself. So right now I'm starting in test mode. You have to choose a location where it is the fastest to you, and like there's a lot of regions. So let's say I choose in Mumbai, Asia South, and it will going to provision the store to me. So yeah, wherever the most users will be, you have to choose a storage location there, and it can't be changed after that. So having if you are using a shared server for your own thing, then it can be on US, and there will be a lot of latency. So Firebase solves all of these issues for you by for yourself. So it's very good. So yeah, moreover that it is. But like if you want to go a deep dive, I would recommend you go through, watch all of these videos and like solve your problems with Firebase integration. But broadly, this is how Firebase is, and that's the usage of Firebase, and that's how you can build applications and scale and go live on the app stores with some users and present them a viable solution. So yeah, if anyone have any questions, I would love to have them. Else, that is it. We added Firebase dependencies only for Android app, right? If you use Firebase CLI. So actually, if you use Firebase CLI, it will add for all the other like it will add to all the like it will create a Firebase options file, and in that options file you will have list according to the platform. So there will be a method which automatically, depending on which platform the device is, when you build it, it is going to set the configurations for it. So that's the benefit of the CLI. But technically it is doing the same thing. So on Android I just did it manually on this, whereas the CLI will do the same things by itself for Android and similarly for other platforms. But yes, to your question, will it add for all the platforms? Yes. Anyone else? Let me check if I can run this. Okay, then yeah, that is it. um, Check out that playlist and try it out. I'm on the Flutter like WhatsApp group. So if you face any challenge while implementing it, you can text me, Bishwa, and anyone, and we'll help you out there while you build. But yeah, the call agenda was to figure it out why it is useful and how you can actually like not worry about writing backend and like how does that work and making sure it's safe and everything is scalable. You just focus on your users and your application, and everything else Google and these solutions will provide. And there are a lot of alternatives as well, like AppWrite, in which like Bishwa is working on as an organization. It's an open source alternative for it. There are multiple other open source alternatives and host and a lot of things. So but overall the purpose is to have like a backend as a service solution, like one stop solution for everything. Yeah. That's it. Do we have some other backends other than Firebase AppWrite? Yes, there are a lot of other backends actually. They're like even better than AppWrite and Firebase. I see like there's a platform called nhost, which you can use. It's also a Firebase alternative if you have heard of it. I'll share the link. Let me share the link. So, but the problem with these, like some of these, like AppWrite right now does not provide a hosted solution. So again, like it's free, but you have to again set up that Firebase backend, like Firebase like backend for yourself by yourself. Like you have to do it and go through the ways. Whereas Firebase and what nhost like also provide is a hosted solution where they host it and they ask you for money for hosting these solutions. So this is the URL for nhost. By the way, let me check. Okay, yeah, our app is also live. Actually, I was trying to run it in the background. So yeah, this is the app that we were building. It's now live. It was building in the background, and let me try if it works actually. So yeah, so let us check if we can get the token for the user. So get message ID should do it. So we can have a print statement here for user token. We can say print user. Okay. And when do we call it? We call it here. Okay. An increment counter is being called when you put this button. Okay. Nice. Let's try. Okay, you can see the user token is printed. So we got the user token right here. And if I just close this app right like this, and I go to the dashboard again, and go to the notification, I can send the notification directly to this user. And if you see, like all this is also added to the database of this Firebase, the token. So the token is same, just the date is different. So now you can actually, like if you go to my video where I've shown you how to query this and how to write connected with the identity, so that each user will have just one document about their data and not many repeated documents. But yeah, that's how it all works. You can just add upon and integrate all these different items together. So let's go to engage messaging and try. Let's try with a new notification. Okay, let's say test. I'm testing notifications. Okay, send a test message. Add that HCM token which we got from the mobile application, and we also stored it on our servers. So yeah, and let's test. We should receive a notification on this app, and we already did. So you can see we got this notification. I am a testing notification, and it opens the mobile application. And if you add some payload data and again send this, so we'll also be able to read that payload data. So if you would like to try, you just have to set up it and like call it this thing where it was. Yeah, I'll just remove it from here and I'll put it here. Okay, cool. Let's try repeating a notification that we had. Messaging. Cool. This is the notification that we had. We're going to duplicate it and send it again. Earlier the app was not installed, so I'll close the app again, and yeah, and we'll choose now. See additional options. Value and action and value, are we using the same action and value? URL in this. Okay, let's try. May or may not work sometimes. Now sending this campaign notifications takes a little bit time sometimes, because like it's not targeted. So like it is added to a queue into the backend of Firebase, and then it picks up and it sends. So usually it can take like sometimes it can take up to 10 minutes to actually go for all users and across all the conditions which you have entered. And if you have entered the correct conditions, let me just check. Let me remove all the conditions, send it to all the users so that we can ensure. First of all, now and in the target, I'll just remove all these conditions. So all the users in this mobile application, let's uh, send them a notification. Sure. So now what I just did, I removed additional conditions about version number and everything, just to make sure we receive. Yeah, we did receive a notification. If you see a notification example, if I click on it, technically we should it will like listen. Okay, sure. So since like this init state gets called only the first time your app is like opened and installed, so like it's not updated. I have to again install it to make sure that this code is updated and here. So you see, like I'm able to send notification from the backend and this campaign, and it will run through this code. But what I did initially, it was the method was not getting called; it was at different place, and now I have added in the init state. But init state is never gets called once your app is already up and running, at least for the main home page. So yeah, now I've just restarted it, installing, and let's try it out again. Okay, let's close it quickly, duplicate, quick, and let's say add to target all users, scheduling now, additional options, all good. Let's send this. Hmm. Let's see if we receive the notification now. As I said, sometimes it takes time. Earlier, like we got this notification immediately, but now it's taking some time. But yeah, that's the concept actually. Like when you click on it, it will run this method and it will open it. So yeah, we can wait, or you can also try by yourself. So yeah. Sure, man. So that's everything. If you have any doubt on how you do it and what problems, like if code-based problems you face, you can just message me over WhatsApp. I'll help you out. And if you have any general doubt of what it is and why we are doing, then you can ask. Let me try to get again and send it. Maybe I have to stop this campaign. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, everyone. If you have any questions, ask me. Else, all good. See you. Oh, there's already one question I didn't see. Can we initialize? Can we initialize routes in this? Like if we click on notification, it will take me to the specific page. Yes, yes, it does. So basically, where am I receiving this? I'm receiving it inside the init state. And where do you like create your routes? You create it in the material app. So it's already below the widget where you have defined the routes. So you can of course like at the same logic where I was just launching a URL, I can navigate a user to a particular page in a similar way. And like I can do literally anything based upon the notification payload. What you have to ensure that your payload size doesn't increase a lot, else sometimes like your notification will get ignored. I think I received the notification on the emulator. Let me show it to you. So yeah, if you can see, I got this notification. It's the old notification, I think, old one. Let's see. Yeah, it's the old one. It's not the latest one. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, of course you can do it, and you can try it yourself. It will work 100%, and it is implemented on to the Educate app as well. So yeah. So guys, that is it. All the best, and I'll see you. Bye.